Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Hopefully, everyone had a wonderful weekend. I wanted to start off today's hour by sharing a quick story before we jump into the topics of discussion. Today can be as long as 5 minutes, can be as long as an hour. Depends up to you guys. I want to know what you are interested in and what you're doing. But for the beginning, let me tell you a fun story about this weekend. My wife and I and several members of our family decided to go camping, just like most of you do on Memorial Day weekend. And we decided to take a drive out to the West Desert. And in the West Desert, there is a place called Swayze Peak. Now, I'm not going to tell you where exactly because it's a very, very fun and sacred place. But if you ever want to know a really great campsite and awesome hikes and beautiful vistas of scenery, just send me a direct message. But we were up there, and it's about a 45-minute drive uphill on dirt roads, kind of sketchy. And I have an all-wheel drive automobile, so I feel very, very comfortable driving up these canyons. And we get to the top and find out that I got a flat tire. But it wasn't that I got a flat tire from the drive. There was actually a nail just lodged into my tire probably weeks before, and driving on the dirt roads actually dislodged it. And so there was a gaping hole in my tire, which left us kind of stranded on top of the mountain. Well, luckily we had taken two vehicles. And so in this process, I decided that one of these days of camping, I needed to jump in the second vehicle and drive down to Delta, Utah, where we could find the nearest auto parts store. Now, given the holiday, none of the tire shops were open. And so we went to the auto parts store, and in the auto parts store, we found a couple of patch kits, and I had never done this before. You see, my experience of patching up tires included a liquid sealant that you could, plug into the air nozzle of your. See, I sound like a total dimwad talking about this because I have no idea, car stuff and mechanical stuff. But anyways, you plug it into the air nozzle, and then you release this fluid, and it patches and fills in kind of a sealant, a foam sealant, and should patch up the holes. And I've been used to that, but this hole was pretty gaping, and I was kind of sad that wouldn't have been the case. And so my sister-in-law explained to me that there's another way to repair, holes in a lot of tires, and she showed me this patch kit. Now the patch kit only cost like $8, and just because it was only $8, I started to judge it immediately. I was like, how could something that's going to help me get off the mountain be worth $8? Like, I figured this was going to be like a couple $100 expense to get the air filled and get the patch and then melt the tire or whatever. But I guess I had never seen it, never heard of it, but they said, trust me, I'll show you. So reluctantly, I purchased two of these $8 kits just to make sure I could have the right, practice and everything. And then we ran over to the Maverick where we could fill the tire up with air. Now, I didn't know that the patch kit included a little tool that you have to stab the scene of the crime, right? You just stab the hole, and then you had to make the hole bigger. And to me, making the hole bigger on the tire was just counterintuitive to what we were trying to do. I was like, why would we have to make the hole bigger to plug it up? I didn't understand it. And she had to literally just walk me through it and guide me. And she kept saying, trust me, trust me, trust me. And because I trusted her and she had seen it done before, I said, well, okay, I will do this. But man, I feel like we're going to be buying a brand new tire, because I literally took this tool and I jabbed it in there, and we had to really make it fluid so that you could pull in and out the tool. And the hole was gaping, man. It was bigger than before. And I was like, dude, I feel like a surgeon who already killed the guy on the table, and now I'm just stabbing him. Okay, now I'm just plugging away at it. And to me, that was kind of funny, because I was trying so hard to believe that this process would work, but I couldn't believe it because I didn't see it. I had never seen it before. And finally, after a few attempts of plugging up the hole, I got frustrated and I said, look, I'm so sorry. I trust you, but I've just never seen this before. So we pulled out our phones and I watched a YouTube video on how to plug up a hole. And this guy did it and showed exactly what we were doing. So I was like, okay, this guy obviously knows what he's doing and he's doing exactly what we're doing. And he showed us one technique that we weren't employing, which is when you jab it in and it's very, very fluid, to be able to put in the release pin and to rip it out fast so that it was stuck with the lubricant and the sealant. And so I was like, oh my gosh, dude, there's no way that this is going to work and no way that this is going to get me off the mountain. I'm going to try and either go 3 wheels down the mountain or ride on a spare, but I was willing to put it to test. So as I was working through this, I decided to go through with it, and I decided to put the sealant in, rip it out just like they had advised. And as a result of that, I was able to get enough air into the tire without it unplugging or without it decreasing. And I was like, okay, this kind of worked. And my faith kind of shifted. I went from I had seen it and then I believed it, even though I was hesitant to believe the person that was sharing it with me in the first place. And so as a result of all this, we filled the tire up all the way to capacity. And we threw it in the back of the car and we drove back up the mountain and mounted the tire back on the car. And we decided that we were going to stay one extra night just to make sure that all was well. And if we needed to, we figured out how to patch a hole. And I had an extra kit too. So all was well. And we made it down the mountain. But it was fascinating to me because here I was. I'm a risk taker. I'm an action person. I really, really do enjoy adventures, and I do love, learning new things. And here I was, just doubting the process of patching up a tire, and I was doubting it because I had never seen it done before. And even though my friend was able to walk me through it and talk me through it, and we had done everything right, there was maybe just 1 or 2 small things that we just didn't do to make it work perfect. But the second I watched a YouTube video that somebody did it perfectly the first time, I instantly had like confidence, and I instantly had this idea that I could do it too. And you know what? There's so many things that are wrong with that, but also really interesting about that, because I believe that the efforts that I'm putting in right now to educating, to sharing, to connecting with people here on Facebook, here online, I believe that those things will have an outcome, 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, because people will reflect back on the things that I'm teaching, or the things I'm sharing, or the things I'm connecting with people. But I didn't realize that I was so confident on something I couldn't see in the future in one area of my life versus a very, very simple and physical area of my life, that I needed to just stab a hole, make the hole bigger, plug it up, and walk away and fill the tubes up with air. Like, I didn't realize that was what had to happen. And so I was kind of ashamed and kind of, sad by the way that my mentality and my mindset was over the weekend. But I realized that I'm not alone. You see, so many people, they talk a good talk, they do good things, but then when it comes to certain things in their life, they totally contradict themselves and do exactly what I just did. So I thought it was very, very, very interesting. And I thought that was a very fun story to share, because I'm sure a lot of you also had some really fun adventures over the weekend. I'm sure that you had some really cool things going on that you would like to share. But what I wanted to ask you was, in today's world of buying, you see, I had this friend or family member who was able to walk me off the ledge, per se, and to convince me that this $8 patch kit was going to be the most important thing to get us off that mountain. And I had a recommendation, though I was kind of doubting, I was willing to trust that person enough to say, yeah, I'll do it and I'll give it a try, even though I feel like this isn't going to work. And I was willing to put that trust in that one person, and I bought. And it was only $8, right? $7 or $8 for a patch kit. And I was like, how on earth is an $8 patch kit going to get me off this mountain? But I realized that I bought because somebody else helped me through it, because somebody else walked me through it. And then I realized do I do that in other areas of my life? Do I? Do I buy because people said so? Do I buy because I care about the person? Do I buy because people I trust said to buy it? The answer is yes. And the answer is also maybe, and the answer is sometimes no. But, there's things that I know my capacities to buy, and there's things that I know that I just can't. There's just things I can't buy. And so I want to have a discussion with everyone here, and I'm curious on why you buy. I'm curious on why you buy. Some of you probably buy because of the reliability of the product. Let's talk about vehicles. Now, I think vehicle sales are completely different because we're talking thousands of dollars versus an $8 thing. But vehicles, a lot of people buy because they want to know that it runs. They know that it fits, a certain genre of their precise wants and needs. But then they also want reliability. They want to know that they're taken care of. They want warranty. They want product. They want service. They want things out of it, packages that I didn't really know that I needed when I bought my car, right? I did buy my car new, but I didn't know that it was tire warranty and mechanical warranty that I necessarily needed out of all of it. And I have a really great car, and the car run great. And this was my first time hitting a nail, and so it was a big deal for me to walk through this process. But in any effort, I think that a lot of people buy because of few things. They buy because of their environment, and they buy based on emotion. And I think Taylor just said that buying is only ever emotional. And I think that that's very, very interesting, because some of us have to buy things because someone recommended it to us. Now, I give a speech called the 3 or 4 irrefutable laws of high performance. And in that, I teach people what you can do to help your friends become your raving fans. And in that process and in that speech, we talk a lot about how when you use what a doctor would say, how many of you have ever turned down what a doctor has prescribed you? You're throbbing in pain. You just broke your leg, and the doctor says, "Yeah, I'm gonna suggest that you take this painkiller." 99.99% of us are going to be like, "Yes, give it to me now. Where's the pharmacy? How do I get that in my body so I don't feel pain?" But the key word wasn't this pain med. The key word was, "I highly recommend," or "I recommend you use this." And you consent to it. And so when people say that to you, say, "Hey, Taylor, hey, Chad Brown, hey, Eric Swanson, hey, Jason Curtis," those are the guys watching right now and active in the chat section. "Hey, I highly recommend you join this mastermind." Or "I highly recommend you attend this event." Or "I highly recommend you buy this product." The majority of you are going to ask more questions or feel good about it, right? You're going to feel, because if the professional or the expert recommended it, you're going to take it. And it's because you see yourself in the product. You see yourself in the service, or you see yourself in the outcome. Am I right? Or am I right? taking a line from the great classic movie Rocket Man. He says, "Am I right or am I right? Am I right?" I think that line is also found in Groundhog's Day. Groundhog's Day. If you guys remember that movie, he says, "Am I right or am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Am I right?" Because I'm pretty sure we all buy for the same reasons. Now, I have 2 friends who I want to bring on the show in the next couple days or weeks. The first one is Levi McPherson, and Levi is a good mentor to me, a good friend. And Levi teaches on this product. He knows he has a system in which he can identify by the way you buy is the way you perceive and the way you act and the way you think. And I think it's a really cool system, and to dive deeper into it, I'd love to learn more about it with a small personality assessment. The other one is a friend of Levi, who was introduced to me, and a good, awesome individual I'm friends with here on Facebook, but Woody Woodward. Woody Woodward just developed his drive system, which talks about the driving mechanisms of why we buy and why we purchase and how we sell. And I love these two comparisons because they relate to emotional intelligence and they relate to power behind the purchase. Now, this morning on a podcast episode, I interviewed Barbara Ellison. Shout out to you, Barbara. That was a wonderful call. And we talked about this system. This is called the bank code. Now, the bank code is a very, very interesting system too. It identifies 4 areas from a personality assessment that you fall under. And they include the actions, the nurturers, the blueprints, and the knowledge-based people. And we all kind of fit into a bucket, but we're all very unique. So we're not just like one fits all, right? But there's some really, really interesting reasons why people buy. But I've learned over time that we are oftentimes still buying off of emotion, and that emotion drives more than anything. The reason why we turn things down is on emotion as well. And the reason why we say no. But I've also come to realize that we buy on a major sense of emotion and interest and trust in other people. So this is a very, very interesting topic. And I think I could take the opportunity to ask you guys, why have you made your most recent purchase? Think about your recent purchase that was more than $1,000. And if it wasn't $1,000, more than $500. And if it wasn't more than $500, it was more than $100. Okay, $99. Why did you buy that? Can you shout out in the comment section why you purchased that thing that was more than $100? Tell me why. I'm fascinated and I'm interested, and I think we can address this as a really cool topic. In the meantime, I'm going to address just who's on here, show a few comments, and then I also want to tell you about something that I'm wearing today. So exciting. Chad Brown says, "What's up, John?" Hey, Chad, you're the man, dude. Hey, give me some more information about your upcoming thing you talked about last week on Facebook. That's awesome. Hello, says Taylor Douglas. And she says, STEM, LOL. I think you and I were going to talk about that. I can't wait to talk about that more. Jason Curtis says, what's up, everybody? Loves it. Eric Swanson in the house. Buy, and sell. Woohoo. I love it. I love it. Taylor says, I think we all have experiences like that. Talking about the trust and then, making decisions based on that. Chad says, I contradict myself all the time. Thank you for saying that. I do too. And I do it all the time, but I do it with positive intention, right? I always contradict myself with the happiest and with the best intentions. I never contradict myself to prove anything or to do anything wrong or whatever. It just happens. We are constantly changing and constantly growing. My opinions on networking are far different than they were, months ago. So anyways, Jason Curtis says, oh, absolutely. Buying is only ever emotional, says Taylor Douglas. Even logic is emotional. I agree with that. And I think that a lot of people don't agree with that. And we can get into that too. But logic comes from an emotional basis to remove emotion, but still there's an intention behind the removal of emotion, and we still end up encompassing emotion in our decisions. Taylor says, I've turned down things doctors have prescribed me. That's interesting because you probably have an awareness of your body and its reactions and so forth. A lot of people don't. Let's just talk about 99% or 95% of the population. Most people will take what the doctor prescribes. I will avoid medications at all costs. But I have also taken medications out of fear or taken medications based out of, absolute just treachery and pain, right? And so because of that, regardless, I think that there are certain things that a lot of people buy. But when the doctor prescribes, typically we partake. She says, I don't count though. So AKA emotions. Haha. We talked about the bank code. Okay. Yeah. So bank code essentially is a personality assessment that addresses what values you care about most. And you will read through several values and you pick an order, organize them, and that kind of shares with us who you are and what you care about most. And because of that, that allows us to open lines of communication where we can talk to each other and talk to each other based on our codes. And the bank code is what opens up our ability to sell to each other, but not to sell, but to help each other, right? Matt Gibbons is in the house. He says, hey, John, Jason, and Taylor. What's up, Matt? Looking forward to your conversations here. Eric Swanson says, Bank. Cool. I'm good friends with the creator of Bank. Yeah, Sherry Tree. She's also a good friend of ours. I love Sherry Tree. She's amazing. We've got on my bookshelf here a bunch of her books. In fact, if you look at the bottom shelf, there's the black, green, blue, yellow, and red book. Those are all of the, oops, it looks like I lost my, that's okay. We're at 100%. We've got all the books. I've got my cards here, and, we're very well versed in bank code, and we use it for, occasions. And I like to use it for masterminds because we like to understand how to communicate with everyone once we're in. Want me to bring her on your show right now? Dude, you're awesome, dude. I appreciate it. Let's schedule one out because I think it would be cool to have an entire week of content to talk to individuals who have these systems, that have these sales systems that identify the various personalities of humans. And so I'm going to try and schedule all that for next week. So Eric, let's connect to Sherry Tree and see if maybe we can talk with her next week, because that would be fantastic. I know quite a few people in the bank code community, and that would be super cool. Thank you. I can't thank you enough for that awesome generosity and that resource. It's really great. Taylor Douglas says, I bought a burrito most recently, LOL. Was that burrito worth $99 or more? Because if so, tell me where, and I need to know why a burrito is worth that much. But you probably bought a burrito off of emotion, okay? You were hungry, and that emotion was, I need, right? Or hunger or some sort of thing like that. So I think that's interesting. But it definitely was not $100. Okay. The air nozzle is called a stem. Okay, cool. The air nozzle on a tire is called a stem. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love learning. Sherry Tree is one of our Habitude Warrior rock stars. Yeah, I know that she's been on your stage before. Sherry Tree's awesome. I met her at a conference in California. And then we ended up becoming affiliates with them, and bought a lot of cards, bought a lot of books, and yeah, it's been fun. It's been a good relationship, and I've learned a lot from that process. And some of my other friends who've developed other cards and assessments and so forth, they have also had a ton of success diving in deeper to the explanation. Whereas Bank, I think, has a very, very awesome, quick, strategic touch base process, which is good for a lot of beginners and entry-level people. My next planned purchase is a mentoring marketing program. Fascinating. I'd love to hear about that. And the question I have is why? Why would you buy it? And right now you're planning it, which means you expect to buy it. What will actually make you make the decision to buy? Why will you actually decide to buy that mentoring marketing program? I think it's interesting because a lot of us buy on emotion, and some of us try to buy based on results. I bought my car because I knew a few things. I knew that Subarus were long lasting. I knew that they were dependable. I knew that they had really great all-wheel drive. I knew that they had exceptional like OnStar services, okay? And I also knew that the value would hold. I started thinking economics. And I said that though all vehicles depreciate in value, that a Subaru, if traded into the Subaru family, would maintain its level of value. And so I kept based on those reasons, and I knew that I was going to buy one, and I ended up pulling the trigger eventually to do so. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And that's why I bought my Subaru, right? A lot of people will buy very, very similar. But think about this. Why don't we buy for results? Some of us think we are, but we're really buying because we're envisioning ourselves and the outcome of what we're trying to achieve in the long run. And that's an emotional thing. Napoleon Hill talks a lot about this in Think and Grow Rich. But we buy because we see ourselves in that outcome, and we desire that outcome. Some of us will buy dietary pills because we see ourselves in that beach body, perfect six-pack ab summer outfit, right? Or some of us will buy programs because we feel like those programs are going to give us the results we need. We trust that a human being or a particular product is going to get us exactly what we need and want. And a lot of times we don't actually get the results we want, but we buy because we believe that the results we're going to get. I did not buy the patch kit because I knew that it would fix my car. I bought the patch kit because somebody told me that they could help me patch up my tire. You guys seeing this? You understanding this? Like this is interesting stuff. And when you can understand the backside of this, the neuroscience behind why people are buying, then you can understand the neuroscience behind marketing and relationships and communication. And that's a topic that I need to understand better. It's a topic that I need to dive into, and I need to understand more. But I love hearing why other people are buying, because it's important for me to know, that other people are also making similar decisions to me. And if they're not, then either I need to cut up my credit cards, or I need to figure out something, because I know that I buy based on emotion. And I see the future me with that product or service and the outcome, but I never think about the process, the steps that are going to be required, everything it takes. Every coaching program I've ever purchased has never worked. I've never gotten the results I've ever asked for. And here's why. One, because first of all, it requires a lot out of me. But two, you see yourself in the outcome. They broadcast this, live your best life and hit your millions within a few months. And then you jump in. Not that I purchased that program, guys, but all these coaching programs I jump into, I've never gotten the results because of either a lack of attention, a lack of dedication, or the process in which to get those results was a lot harder than marketed and prescribed. And so when the doctor says, I highly recommend you join this marketing program, and I joined this marketing program and I didn't get quite the results they promised, but we're so many thousands of dollars down the drain and so far into this, it's hard to back out and say, I need to get what I wanted to get. And you keep going, right? So let's address some of these comments. Moving down the comments section here. Taylor says, the guy hasn't given me a link to purchase yet. Okay, cool. So you want to buy, exactly the product you want to buy, the service or program, and you're just waiting on the person. So that's a bad salesperson if he's not giving you the access right away, or maybe it's pretty exclusive. So we buy based on something we want to receive. Interesting. I like that. I like that a lot. And that's like the future perception of what you're trying to buy is what you see yourself. Buy to solve a problem or the result promised. So yeah, there you go. If you buy to solve a problem or the result promised, then you're trusting that the person marketing to you or the packaging or the service is delivered to you, and that the result will be what was advertised or marketed, right? And so a lot of people will use neuroscience tactics to sell to you in a way where you will buy based on, a problem that is solved or a result that will be achieved. So a lot of us hit on these pain points, right? Maybe it's money, maybe it's finances, maybe it's wealth, maybe it's a physical product, maybe it's a health thing, maybe it's something that we just don't understand or we don't have but we want, and it's a painful topic. They address it and then you buy. I'm not sure why Taylor wants to buy the marketing program, but maybe it's because she wants to learn marketing and she needs something to help her with that. And that would be one of the reasons why. She says, I need to learn how to market better. So she buys a marketing program. I'm just guessing, Taylor. I don't know. You're just a good example. Okay. Chad Brown says, I buy to vote for the kind of world that I want to live in. Interesting. I really think this is an interesting thing because I love this. This is a very, very valuable and exciting intention, right? Is that I buy to vote for the kind of world that I want to live in. Now, the first thing that comes to my mind when with this comment is sustainability. My wife and I have talked about reducing our trash and reducing the amount of material we throw away, right? We've talked about recycling and ordering bulk so there's less garbage and less waste. And we've also talked about minimizing our green our what do you call that, the green print or blueprint that you leave on the world. And we've talked about buying bulk, using jars, things that you can reusable stuff, and that's the first thing that comes to mind. And we buy products in that form so that we can endorse the world that we want to live in. I think that's very, very fascinating. So in that case, would you buy a car? Even let's say the Tesla is the best option on the market for an electronic car that has zero emissions and gas and oil consumption, and that's just the best car. But not all of us have 85 grand to just go spend on a vehicle. Do you settle for a Prius, or do you just get a car that you can afford at the moment? See, a lot of people will end up settling for something even though they really want the 85 grand Tesla. And that's just an example, not the only example, right? But I think this is so fascinating because we do have incredible intentions of buying. Now, my intention was to take my tire to a tire store and have the tire people fix it. I probably would have spent $100 plus. Okay. But instead, I ended up trusting a friend and buying a patch kit that cost me $8. So it's all fascinating, right? And I love playing with this idea, and I hope you guys are playing with it too, because to me, it's just brilliantly amazing why people do what they do. I think it's so amazing, and I love this comment by Chad Brown because it's important. He says, Godin, Seth Godin would say, you bought the patch kit to get your car off the mountain, not to patch your tire. Boom, there you go. I bought the patch kit to get my car off the mountain, not to patch your tire. Fantastic. And that's why I ended up buying. And that's why I trusted the person. So I love that. There you go. Taylor says that's what Chad said. We all agree. That's amazing. So think about that. Like, why do I buy groceries? Is it because you're hungry? Well, a lot of us go to the grocery store when we're hungry and we end up buying more than we actually need. But why do we buy groceries? Is it because we're hungry, or is it because we need to eat, or is it because of something else? To feed a family so that we can be happy? I don't know. Like that's the end result of what we actually buy food for. Okay. I feel like that doesn't count. I buy because I'm hungry. I teach personal development, but true human development is like trench warfare. I like that. That's funny. It is exclusive. LOL. The footprint. There you go. Footprint. I said blueprint, green print. I don't know. Footprint. Your footprint. Thanks for helping me out, you guys. We'll end this live hour here soon, but I just wanted to say, Chad Brown says, I'm creating an awareness around this idea of voting for the world we want. YouTube channel. I'm not even going to read that out, but if you guys want to go check that out, I will for sure later. I'll go back to the comment section and check this out. But thanks for sharing that, Chad. That's awesome. I like this idea of creating an awareness around voting for the world we want. And you do that through Buy Power. I love that. Chad also says, as people want better products, the market will respond with innovation and affordability. So speaking of innovation and affordability, with COVID-19 and a bunch of businesses either having to readjust or redirect what they're doing, I think it's fascinating that we all recognize the impressive need to adjust, to be agile during this crazy time, right? And because of it, it's fascinating to me that a lot of businesses need to adjust in different ways. As I go back into the coaching world, as a hobby, I help coach high school sports. I help coach the track team, and I also help coach the wide receivers of the varsity football team. And anywho, as we go back to practices, I have a whole new coaching mentality. It's develop kids without touching them, develop kids without contact, developing kids to learn what they need to learn without them touching each other. Like touch and spreading COVID-19 is just like the utmost, like severest thought process, rather than the development of the child or the development of the athlete. And so I think this is a fascinating discussion and topic. So the market will respond with innovation and affordability. For example, we have multiple offerings here at Amplified Minds. We have what's called the Champion Circle, which is a high-level connecting group. And in those groups, we conduct masterminds, we conduct peer group, and we conduct coaching in a form of accountability. Now, all three of those things combined build an incredible outcome for every individual. It's not a coaching product. It's not a program. It's an event that you attend regularly with the commitment to achieve the goals that you set in your world. And we give you people to surround yourself with to help you become a champion. Now, it's a great product. It's an awesome thing. But why aren't people buying right now? Right? Why aren't people lining up because of certain things? Now, I have to make sure that as we improve our product based on what people want and need, that the market will respond in innovation and affordability. I obviously can't have any networking events right now because networking events are not allowed. I can't control if 50 people are going to show up and will not let people in the door. There's some things that I have to be worried and carried about that are important to this process. But let's talk about other products, right? Let's talk about other services. I still don't know how, but the side-by-side and four-wheeling community here in Heber City is thriving because all these people are sick and tired of being in their homes. So now they're going outside and they're buying a bunch of four-wheelers. And it's fascinating to me that that's what people are going to. They'll go spend, $20,000 on a four-wheeler toy, but investing in themselves and their future is something that they're hesitant to do. And I think it has a lot to do with trust. I think it has a lot to do with a few other things. Now, I'm not saying you guys take this all out of perspective, right? I think that there's just some really cool things that we can all learn from this. And I don't mind putting my business on a chopping block here to spatter the bud and talk about the various things that we need to discuss. But I just think this is a fascinating topic. And I think the comments that everybody's been sharing are totally relevant to our situation. Okay, so Taylor says you can totally have networking events. Yes, you can. And I want to. But again, my focus has now changed from how we interact to safety and no one can touch each other. Hugs are not permitted, like that kind of thing. And it's like, it's an environment where we have to adjust. So networking, the way we network, needs to be evolved, needs to change in a world where we can't touch each other, where we have to remain 6 feet apart when sitting and wearing masks and so forth. So that's fascinating to me. Absolutely fascinating. And as I'm saying this, I've got a few ideas. Taylor says hugs all day. Oh, I laugh, but the thing is for people like Taylor and I, who are very, very social and would just hug anyone and shake anyone's hand and blah, 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 we have to be aware of other people. And we have to be aware of what they think and feel. And because of that, we can't do the things we used to always do. And I hesitate to go into depth about that because it is a touchy subject for a lot of people. I personally am affected by COVID. I had my uncle pass away last month. And that was a thing that we realized how real it was, and that the spread of this could be more traumatic than we thought. But then also said it's an interesting place because we have to also recognize that our world needs to go back the way it was, or the world needs to go back into forward motion. So we have to progress, we have to adjust. And so I recognize that, and we can't just focus on the past, but we've got to do things moving forward that work and continue to do so. So there you go. Taylor says it's also a space of respect and honoring others. It's not a allowed or not allowed thing. I agree. And in the form of coaching, like as I coach these athletes, I think a lot of us, it's quick to say, we can't do that. That's something we can't and cannot do. It's hard to explain to people, hey, in respect and honoring you, I'm not going to stand right next to you and look you in the eye and share with you what you need to do. I'm going to direct you from a distance, and you're going to do exactly as I say. There's just some adjustments that have to be made, and there's just some fascinating things that need to go. So I think it's all very, very fascinating. She also says intentional language is important. And I think that's what everyone has to adjust to. It's not basically our physical actions that we need to be mostly aware about. It's how we're communicating. Because if we don't adapt, and if we don't strive to teach or give or to communicate in a new way that progresses in what you said, Taylor, the respecting and honoring others, then we're going to get left behind. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. And I think that it's time for us to do so. So there we go, guys. I wanted to start off the week with a interesting discussion and topic. I'm looking forward to it. My afternoon is booked. I've got call after call after call, but I wanted to make sure I jumped in here. I'm going to be working on aligning those speakers who can come on. Cherry Tree, hopefully Levi McPherson, hopefully Woody Woodward will be available to talk about their systems and how to use communication tactics and personality assessments to understand the people around you and why that will help you and the benefits of it. So stay tuned, keep in touch. If you guys have any questions or would like to contact me, please send me a direct message. So I learned something about Facebook on Friday. Apparently I clicked a button, and the button was called a room, and you can open up rooms where people can talk to you. And I clicked on that, and I made an availability apparently. And then all of a sudden, as I'm going out of service on Friday to go camping where I popped my tire, I got like 30 missed calls from Facebook Messenger, people calling me. And I didn't realize this, but apparently there's a thing called rooms, and there's a place where you can connect with people. So I'm learning about this, and I'm trying to understand it better. So I'm going to open up a room, and we can chat if you want to talk. And we'll be having some opportunities to do this more in-person, one-on-one stuff too. And I appreciate you all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your participation. Shout out to Taylor Douglas. Shout out to Chad Brown. Shout out to my good friend Eric Swanson, Mr. Woohoo, Mr. Awesome, Matt Gibbons, and Jason Curtis, and also you out there watching who hasn't commented but just want to keep watching. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, dude, check out this shirt I got. Okay, I don't even know what's on it, but if I zoom in, I've got these hands with these like devices. I've got some stars and some constellations and some really, really cool things. Super interesting, super weird shirt. But when you back up, it just looks like a bunch of flowers, right? But when you zoom in close, it's something, man. Psychedelic, dude. I really liked it. So anywho, guys, appreciate you. Can't wait to talk. Send me a direct message. Taylor says, it calls you to the room. Oh, I got to learn about this. I'm going to play around with it. I'm going to understand it. Okay. Talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.